meeting February 18th and start with prayer. I pray that we all work together to make Mission a place where people are welcomed and the Lord is honored. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. We'll stand for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please call roll.
Cowdery.
Here.
Gibbs. Here. Kring.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Quinn.
Here.
Rothrock.
Here.
Shepherd.
Here.
Thank you.
Well, first tonight we have an appointment, and I am pleased to put forward the recommendation of Jason Vaughn for appointment as Councilmember Ward 1. Jason was selected from a group of 6 very qualified applicants for this vacant position. And following interviews with Councilman Shepherd and Quinn and myself, we unanimously recommend his appointment. I would entertain a motion to confirm this appointment.
So moved.
Second.
Please call roll.
Rothrock.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Kring.
Aye.
Cowdery.
Aye.
Gibbs.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Shepherd.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. Great. Congratulations, Jason.
Come on down.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear and affirm
I do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Kansas,
the Constitution of the State of Kansas,
and the laws and ordinances of the City of Mission,
and the laws and ordinances of the City of Mission,
and faithfully discharge my duties as Councilmember Ward 1
and faithfully discharge my duties as Councilmember Ward 1
of the City of Mission, Kansas.
of the City of Mission, Kansas.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jason, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I know you have someone here. Do you want to introduce?
I do, yes. My girlfriend Robin Dally is with me here tonight as well too. So.
No, if you want to come this way and shake the hands and then come around. Team. Well, Jason will be a great addition, that is for sure. So, well, on to special presentations. Tonight, our first special presentation is from our police department. Chief, you come.
Thank you very much. Tim, you welcome down. We're here tonight to honor Tim Gift, one of our officers, for a job that he did while working on January 4th of this year at 2:20 p.m. Officer Gift got a call in the 6500 block of Fox Ridge down by Falls Apartments Public Storage of a female that was not breathing. As soon as Officer Gift showed up on the scene, CPR had already been started by one of the female's friends. Officer Gift took over CPR, couldn't get a pulse. Her friend went to go and get EMS and fire that was on their way to into the scene. Due to Officer Gift's actions and the fact that he continued CPR, he was able to get a pulse on the female. It was later determined she had shot up an unknown type drug. But without his actions, we could have easily had an overdose that was fatal. This is Tim Gift's second Lifesaving award since being here since 2009. So it's an honor and a privilege to have an officer of this caliber here in the department. So, Tim.
My wife Deborah here.
Yep, you bet. Thank you.
And thanks, glad to have you on our police court.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our next special presentation is from our tree board. Karen, will you?
Well, let's see, I need the tree board members up here, I guess. And, I'm Karen Pickren, and I'm the chairman of the tree board, Mission Tree Board. And we have with us today, we have Brian and Jackie and David. And then we have another member who's not here today, but anyway, we would definitely like to thank Mayor Schoenberg for having us tonight. And we definitely appreciate the opportunity to introduce and recognize a very talented young Mission resident, Kina Youngblood, and her mother, Tracy, and her brother Kane, and her sister Kaylee. We have a poster.
It's right behind the podium.
It's right behind us. Oh, no wonder. Okay. Okay. Kina is one of 42 Rushton Elementary 5th graders who submitted artwork for the Kansas Forest Service Arbor Day contest. And the theme was, trees are terrific in Kansas cities and towns. The top 10 Rushton posters were on display at the Sylvester Powell Center January 30th to February 1st. And the public were encouraged to come in, anyone who came into the Sylvester Powell Center that weekend were encouraged to vote on the winning posters. So we had all 10 posters on both sides of the aisle entrance there, and people could just put in their little vote. They had them all numbered, no names, just numbers. And so Kina's winning poster has been submitted as a City of Mission submission for the Kansas Forest Service competition for statewide. The poster contest involves much more than just art, as you can see in Kina's picture. We have many elements of they have an ecological curriculum that the school uses. And all the things that the children learn from this curriculum, then they can put into their posters. And you can see she has the bird up here. She's got the theme, trees are terrific in Kansas cities and towns, and things that they've learned about the trees and how valuable they are. They give us shade. Up here we have the birds taking the cherries off the trees. And what I love I just love that raccoon in the tree. Look at that, home for the animals. So we thank you, Kina, for representing our city so well in the state competition. And the winning poster. This is a copy because we had to send in the original to the state. But we also have another copy at Waterworks Park. And so it's in the display case there, so it'll be there for quite some time. Anytime you go down the park, you just go there and admire it, and you can get a close-up view there. Well, you can get a close-up view there too. So we want to thank you, Kina, and the presenter to council and people, and thank her for her work and for representing the city so well.
Picture you of her.
Good to see you again.
So there's a lot of different elements. Trees are terrific in there.
And Tina, if you want to bring your picture and come back over here, we'll get a picture with the mayor, okay? Sneak over there.
Congratulations.
It's just Tina.
We do not have any notes or bonds on our agenda this evening, so we'll go to our consent agenda, which has 6 items. I would entertain a motion to approve.
Mayor, I move the City Council adopt the consent agenda as printed in items 3A through 3F.
Second.
Please call the question.
Shepherd.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Gibbs.
Martha, I have to same from 3A. I was not sure, but I will say aye for the rest of them.
Okay. Vaughn.
Same.
Cowdery.
Aye.
Crane.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Rothrock.
Aye.
Motion carries.
If you have any questions regarding our community committees, you may ask staff or bring this up under new business. Next is public comments. This is an opportunity for members of the public to comment on items not on the agenda. Is there anyone in the audience would like to address council? Well, next is action items, and we do not have any action items from the Planning Commission tonight. So we'll go to committee reports. Councilmember Miller, do you have anything to report from the Finance and Administration Committee?
No, Mayor, I do not. They were all covered in the consent agenda.
Councilman Cowdery, will you provide a report on 2 items from the Community Development Committee?
First item on the, excuse me, guys. Forgive me, my cough is interfering. Is the KDOT funding commitment for Turkey Creek Trail Initial Design Grant. In 2014, the city applied for Mark's Planning Sustainable Places Grant to fund a design and preliminary engineering for Mission segment of the Turkey Creek Trail. Mission was selected as one of 13 awardees for a grant award of $69,570 to be matched with $39,000 from Parks and Recreation Sales Tax Fund, providing total funding in the amount of $108,570. It was learned after the city's application was submitted that the federal funding requires the city to commit to construction of the project within the next 10 years. If the city does not construct the project, all federal grant funds would potentially have to be reimbursed to KDOT. This design process will provide the city with accurate costs of construction and position us to leverage funding for the construction of the trail at a future date. In order to plan for a possible repayment of these funds, staff has recommended reserving $8,700 annually for the next 8 years from the Parks and Recreation Sales Tax Funds to repay the grant should the project not proceed. It is very rare for preliminary engineering and design to receive federal funding. As a result, KDOT has elected to oversee this project directly, which requires the city executing and submitting Form 1302, committing our matching funds. Mayor, I move the City Council authorize the signing and submittal of KDOT Form 1302, committing the city's local matching funds for the Turkey Creek Trail Initial Design Grant.
Second. Is there any discussion? Yes.
Mayor, I'd like to say something. Less than 2 months ago, I specifically asked Martin if we were going to, if this was going to come back to us and cost more than the original $40,000 that we had offered. And he assured me several times no. 2 months later, it's coming back. And it's going to be either $110,000 in 10 years or the city will have to pay $2 million or more of taxpayer funds for a 1 mile, $3 million 1 mile that skirts the edge of Mission. And I just lost a little faith in the integrity of the process, that in 2 months it's changed on me, and the person who told me that has subsequently gone to work for Mark. I don't like voting on something and then finding out that it was inaccurate information and misleading information. And I'm just not sure what Mission taxpayers get out of $2 million for a 1 mile bike trail. When we have a Parks and Rec master plan that we're looking at, bike trails in the city that we could do, sidewalks in the city that would help kids get to school a little bit easier. There just things in Mission, for Mission taxpayers. This is a regional plan. We don't really have a lot of local say-so. The only local input they really want is Mission taxpayer money. It's KDOT and Mark planned and initiated, and going to be KDOT and Mark implemented. And I'm just not comfortable with taxpayer dollars going for 1 mile when there's so many other things that Mission money could do in Mission.
Thanks. Any more questions? Yes, Dave?
No questions, I just have a few comments. First off, I mean, there's no doubt we got surprised about the potential of paying back the $70,000, but I sure as heck would be real careful to characterize that as some sort of nefarious behavior or somebody intentionally misled us. I think we got surprised. We're not discussing a $2 million trail right now. We're discussing a preliminary engineering study that would complete a really important part of a regional trail system that would benefit our community. We're talking about spending $40,000 for our portion, and if we don't purchase easements, if we don't start the trail within a 10-year term, potentially, we might have to repay that, but we have a plan to reserve those dollars. I think this, again, is in the best interest of our community. And as I said at the committee meeting, I think you've got to have a vision if you want to build a world-class community. And I absolutely believe that this regional trail system is part of that. And I have certainly heard from a handful of folks who are opposed to it, but I'll guarantee you I've heard from 4 times as many folks who think that this is a wonderful thing for our community, and I'm 100% in favor of it.
Thanks, Dave. And Pat?
Yeah, Mayor, I was a supporter of this at the committee meeting, and I thought I had most of the facts and understood what was going on down there. But since that committee meeting, I have done some more looking. I've been down to the trail, walked parts of the potential trail there in Mission, but I've also gone over to Merriam and looked at their trail and where it ends, and I've looked at the Overland Park Trail. And I just think there's a lot that I still don't understand about Overland Park finishing theirs and Merriam making the connection to finish theirs, where it's going to go under those bridges to connect Overland Park's portion of the trail. And I think it's information that we can get, but I'd like to see this tabled and give us time to look at it. Another month, table it till next month. It would also give Jason a chance to look it over. I know he wouldn't vote on it tonight probably, but if he had the time to look it over, his input would be, I think, valuable on this as well. And so I'm gonna, if I can, make a motion that we table this until next month or until after the next committee meetings.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor. Can we still discuss, or do we have to?
We have 2 motions on the floor.
Right. I mean, the first motion.
I have a comment too, relative to the first motion.
Yeah.
Can I finish the comment
Yes.
segment
Yes.
of the first motion? Been on the council 15 years. I am very pro-trail. I'm very pro-green and sustainability, and we'll fight that to the end. My biggest concern on this front is I went out and we pulled it off the internet and I went through the area looking. My biggest concern right now is the safety issue. The connectivity between Mission, when it goes to Antioch up through Merriam, you have to go over a highway, which if you're an experienced bicycler, 15 years or something, you can ride all over. But a mother pushing a stroller over that with a young child in it, or children trying to follow their parents along a busy segment of the highway system is a very big concern to me. I was willing to put the money forward. I was willing for the concept. I want a trail system. I'm concerned right now, and we would have to work with Merriam in order to get any kind of change in that trail segment whatsoever. And at this point in time, I'm not willing to support it as long as there's a safety issue, because that takes precedent to me. Thanks.
Anyone else?
I'm fine with, I guess, if the majority of the council wants to put this off. I feel as though we have discussed this multiple times over the year, or the months, and years actually, since I've been on the council. And I have not been a supporter of this. Again, as I will state, I am very much in support of trails and walkable communities. I am very much in support in us spending money to improve our existing parks in our area so that families can go and use it. We went at the comprehensive plan meeting we had last week. People repeatedly talked about a desire for sidewalks, even on both sides of the streets in our city, to make our city more walkable. So those are the things that our citizens are wanting. Ironically, I had 3 times as many people contact me against the trail than were for it. I was very surprised at how many people contacted me stating that our city has other more important items that we need to tend to. People are very excited about the development and improvement on Johnson Drive, and they want to see that continue. This Turkey Creek Trail is in a FEMA floodplain, and it's just like Rock Creek up here in the heart of our city. So if we're going to make a commitment to improving floodplain or flood-prone areas, I'd much rather see us make those improvements in Rock Creek that's through the middle of our city, which can benefit businesses and helping them improve and grow and invest in their properties to bring more businesses into our city. The other thing is that this trail right now, Dave made a comment, Councilman Shepherd made a comment about completing. This is not completing. Right now, Merriam has completed their portion. Overland Park has a small portion in between Merriam and Mission that they have not completed. That's an extremely small portion of this trail that they haven't committed to completing. And then once that's completed, and then if Mission would complete their portion, there has to be a portion that's completed by Kansas City, Kansas, and then Kansas City, Missouri, going all the way down. So right now, if we did this, there's no completion of this trail. So I just want to make sure we have the facts clear that this is building a portion of a trail that has no connectivity. I agree with Councilmember Cream in regards to the safety. I don't know, do we have the picture that was in the packet of where this pedestrian bridge is that Councilmember Cream referred to? It was in the packet. This is, keep going, it's the next 2 pages. There. I don't know if you can see, it is over nearly the most wide part of 635. I get that is adjacent to Turkey Creek Trail. I get it, but that pedestrian bridge in some report that we received when we discussed this resolution, one of the first times I was on council, which was a couple years ago, it said this bridge is for cyclists. So first of all, imagine how long you have to make that bridge for somebody to get, even an experienced cyclist, unless we're in Colorado, and we're not, to get up over that bridge, right? And so it's supposed to be walking and cycling. And then the one thing that probably, and I'm going to say this strong word, offended me the most is the wildlife could use this bridge. I can't invest taxpayer dollars in building a bridge for wildlife. So I don't know if you've seen pictures on the internet where they have picked bridges that are, 1/4 of a mile wide, and they have, grass on it and trees, and you see wildlife up and over the bridge and cars driving underneath it. I get that is all supposition and guesswork, but when we were originally given this plan, it was for pedestrian, wildlife, and cyclists. And so again, as I have said before, when we put forth money to look at this survey, this $108,000, almost $109,000 set aside of taxpayer dollars, which is nearly $1 million in taxpayer dollars, when, first of all, we are short $500,000 in stormwater utility fee that we're going to have to start going back to the citizens and asking for an increase in that fee starting in 2016, because this council has pushed the need to fund that for the past 2 years in the budget. I have asked that if this survey happens, let's look for how to make this more economic, how to bring it more into our city. So I have said that no less than 3 times, that if we're going to look at this plan, let's look at how to bring this up and make it less expensive. So number 1, let's bring it south of that Turkey Creek Trail up here to where Metcalf is much narrower, right? Instead of the most expensive part of it. And what I was told at the committee meeting 2 weeks ago is that, oh, this is the Turkey Creek Trail. This trail must be built along Turkey Creek. Was never brought to our attention that it is not appropriate or acceptable to bring this trail away from Turkey Creek so that the construction of it could be less expensive and could maybe bring people through our city. So that just, like Councilmember Calgary said, that really surprised me. That I brought that up 3 times and nobody corrected me. Now that they say it, I understand. It is called the Turkey Creek Trail. I get that. I can't say that 5 times fast. But it's just disappointing that we need to figure out, if we were to do this, how to make it less expensive. And everything I'm hearing and the motion today and what we spoke about last week is, we're going to look at this survey, we're going to figure out how to make it cheaper as long as it's adjacent to Turkey Creek. Adjacent means right next to. And this, unfortunately, is the most expensive part of this entire trail. And I would wager that, I guarantee you, in the entire northeast Johnson County, or all of Johnson County, there's not a pedestrian bridge that large. I would also be hesitant to see if any major metropolitan cities, how many cities have bridges that are that large, and if so, we need to understand a pedestrian bridge that is that big, that goes over that wide of an expanse. Why not burrow underneath it? I mean, I don't know. So thank you for letting me say my piece.
Yes. Which is exactly why you need a preliminary engineering study to figure out where this trail ought to go. I mean, it's one thing to draw a blue line on a piece of paper, but until you figure out exactly what its configuration looks like, this will continue to just be speculation on, is it a safe design? Is it feasible? What is the price tag? The other thing too you can't miss out on is that it's what was in the motion that Jennifer read, that KDOT never, hardly ever, I think Glenn said it's very rare that they provide grant money for preliminary engineering studies. That tells me that this portion of the trail people get is expensive, they understand its important length, and once we have a design, and we're not going to approve a design that's not safe, that it doesn't take into consideration everybody that might use it. Until we have a design, until we have a price tag, we're never going to move off of this conversation. So, while if, out of respect for Jason, if we want to give this 30 days, I don't care, but one thing I do agree with Amy about is, as a community, we ought to vote this up or down and say whether we're in or out on the Turkey Creek Trail and move on.
Any other comments?
Let me just share 2 pieces of information. So I think we talked about Merriam in terms of Merriam believes that the trail is complete. They don't have anything in their CIP for the next 5 to 10 years that would make any improvements to that trail. So they have used existing sidewalks along Merriam Lane and as it crosses I-35, and I think that's what Councilmember Crane was referencing in that instance. Overland Park, the section, KDOT did not give Overland Park approval to complete that section of the trail. We were able to confirm that today.
Why did they not?
Because they did not want a trail that would dead end in their right of way. So the dividing line between our 2 communities is, you can kind of see, is basically that red line in between the branches of 635. So what KDOT has said, and we confirm with Overland Park again, finally today, is that KDOT will give them approval to move forward with that section of the trail at the same time we get approval to construct our section. And so, and Overland Park does plan to complete that section of the trail at that time. Two other things that have happened since the last grant application for construction was submitted on this trail. Two really challenging pieces that there were slope stabilization concerns under 635, which impacted the potential cost of the trail construction. KDOT is moving forward. They've actually let a contract to do the slope stabilization under 635. It hasn't started, so we don't know the final cost, but we have been in conversation with them for several years about how to leave room in the retaining walls to accommodate the trail as it goes through that section. And it's my understanding it does not go over 635, it goes underneath the 635 bridges.
That's what I
The
thought.
construction is underneath the 635. So that cost will be able, because KDOT is moving forward with construction at this time, KDOT will be able to provide better cost estimates for managing the slope, and the slope stabilization would not be our responsibility through that section. And the other piece is where the trail came up and around Streamway Park and moved onto Fox Ridge. There was a stormwater inlet and retaining wall and some failure over there that happened. That is a private street. The private property owner made those repairs, but that was roughly, if you kind of eyeball it, that's where the trail was intended to come out. We're obviously not going to tear out that private investment, so we have to look at how we get the trail up around the park. So those things at this point we know would impact the cost. We don't know in what direction, but you know, since 2006, I think when we may have been talking about the trail longer than that. I think we've had resolutions since 2006. It's a lot of conditions that have changed and influenced and caused the price to fluctuate. And so each year, that does continue to happen. The other thing that through March in Kansas City, Kansas, so the trail then leaves Mission and Johnson County and goes into Kansas City, Kansas. There's not a specific trail alignment that's been identified there. They talk about it going on top of the levee, down Fox Ridge, crossing there. Today's conversation was they're looking more at crossing at Lamar and going up Merriam Lane with the improvements. So the improvements that are happening on Merriam Lane now weren't happening several years ago. And that would then allow someone to get down to the Crossroads district once they got across that junction. But again, that's really not firmed up. That continues to be a work in progress.
So, excuse me, did you say that Kansas City, Kansas is taking theirs across Lamar Bridge?
I don't think they've made any final decisions, but apparently that's part of the conversation now.
I thought they were going east off of Lamar. What is it?
It's down there.
East of Lamar. And it's there.
It's pretty bad. I mean, it would need redone. You can take a car over it, but
You don't like it when you drive over
you
it.
drive real fast.
And Mayor, may I say one more thing?
Yes.
This is a regional project. It was we have the most expensive mile with the least amount of taxpayer base. It would be wonderful if, you know, Johnson County is gonna, and Mark are gonna oversee it and do it. I would love to see regional money put into it. It's for the greater good of Johnson County. So they want to get people down south to be able to bicycle to Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas City, Kansas. And that's wonderful if they want to pass, cross a mile through the mission to get there. I hate to see $2 million of taxpayer money go for that. That's asking a lot of mission. It's a fun idea. It's a fun project. So there are a lot of bicyclists in Kansas City that will enjoy it. It's just I don't work for Mark. I work for Mission.
Do you have another question? So in the area in Merriam where they did the improvement, they created this trail, they have done significant improvement to Turkey Creek along there. And was the trail development, is that what spurred the improvement to Turkey Creek? Were they obviously they're coincident with each other. I mean, I walk there all the time, and they've done an amazing job. It just takes a significant amount of upkeep. That's the other thing that we haven't even started talking about yet, is the pure amount of upkeep that's necessary for this trail in this area, and it being in a floodplain, specifically in the 635 corridor area where that floods on a pretty regular basis. And now knowing that it's going under the highway, so I still understand why it's a bridge, but it's going under. I mean, it's called a pedestrian bridge, and it's going to go under.
That was somebody's
It
artist
is.
rendition, yeah.
Well, they wrote pedestrian bridge right
Yeah,
there. I mean,
it's somebody's idea, yeah.
So anyhow, so, I mean, I want to understand, since this is a FEMA floodplain, and we are required, we have so many requirements up here in the floodplains that go through our city of what we can and cannot do. I would assume there's some kind of requirement that needs to be done to this area to, if we're going to put anything there.
Well, you're talking about, if you will, excuse me, Mayor, sorry. But you're talking about down next to the creek, if the trail followed.
Well, right, all in that area right there, in that, our road where 635 is, all that creek, all that area right there, not the creek, but around the creek is a floodplain.
Right.
We had, you can look it up.
But I'm just saying the trail wouldn't necessarily be.
Well, it's adjacent to it right there, right? So the Overland Parks piece would be in a floodplain, and then also going over there, that piece, you know, some of those pieces right adjacent to it would be in the floodplain.
Well, Overland Parks,
It's the dotted yellow.
Not now,
it's raised above.
it would be the future, I think, Councilman Miller's talking about, the one going under the southbound 635, isn't that?
Yeah, I mean, that floods on this side of 635, and on the upstream, up
Right,
north
but their
and south side
trail
of
is way
635,
above
it
the
flows.
floodplain.
Okay.
Well, with all due respect, I mean, you know, this is paralysis through analysis, and we're not talking about $2 million of taxpayer money. We're not talking about the city of Mission paying 100% for whatever is ultimately designed. We're not talking about floodplains. We're not talking about upkeep. I mean, it's that whole, you know, how do you eat the elephant, right? One bite at a time. You have to put this thing in sequence. And the first step in this is you need a preliminary engineering study to figure out where this trail ought to go and how much it will cost. And once you have those two pieces in hand, then you can figure out where the funding can come from, and then we will have another decision to make. What we're putting at risk tonight, and what we're investing tonight, or was originally on the table before the motion to table, is $39,000. And yes, I get that there may be $70,000 10 years from today that may be put in jeopardy if we never purchase the first easement or start the trail. But again, I think you got to take this one step at a time, or it does become overwhelming. And I, again, continue to believe that this is a good use of not only taxpayer dollars to do this preliminary engineering study, but it's a good use of staff time to figure out and to put this together and to work with Mark and work with KDOT to see if we can make this work. Because tonight we're not committing to a trail, and it's misleading to say we're committing $2 million to a trail of Mission taxpayer dollars without knowing where it's going to go, how much it's going to cost, and again, how much grant money we can get. To your point, is a regional project from around the region to complete what, to your point, is the most expensive mark. But until you have a design and until you have a price tag, you'll never figure that out. And you'll never begin to have the serious conversations about how to get it built.
One more thing.
So we are, with the approval of this, moving forward with this grant, the funding and whatnot, is we are going to set aside $8,700 a year in taxpayer dollars to repay this in 10 years if we do not start construction on the trail. So we are, by moving this forward, if this moves forward today, it's more than spending $39,000. It's spending $39,000 plus $8,700 a year, you know, that is taken out of the taxpayer pool.
If we don't.
You're taking it out of the pot, the budget, for the next 10 years or
Yeah.
whatever years to get to 79. You're taking it out for the next. I get that in a $10 million budget, $8,700 is not that big of a deal. But then the past budget cycle, this council was talking about, I think, $4,000 for a mowing, right?
Right.
We were, I mean, we get down to that level. So there,
Well,
$4,000 is your mowing.
But
We're
we're
gonna
not-
spend to put aside for this.
Yeah, but that money's set aside. It's not spent until such time as the trail.
But it can't be spent on other needs.
Well, not until the trail starts. And then
Then
you
it's
can
been-
do whatever you want with it,
Well,
right?
and my point, I know, but my point was last budget cycle, we were looking for $4,000 for a mowing. And if we're putting $8,700 aside for this, that was the $4,000 we had to cut somewhere else to put this in. And, you know, that, I'm sure that exact same item's gonna come up next year.
Well. also
Mayor,
one-
let me just interject, and I apologize. In listening to the conversation, and I'm sitting here and thinking ahead and listening to the questions, some of which we've heard, some of which we haven't heard. I think maybe the discussion about tabling. What we don't have is the final agreement. So this is one step towards the last step of a final agreement with KDOT. I have not been able to get my hands on in the last couple of weeks what that final agreement looks like. And what I don't want is there to be any other surprises in an agreement that comes forward that we haven't had a chance to review. I was not any more pleased with this surprise about the repayment piece of this than I think anybody else was. I don't want to go through that again in 2 weeks when I'm able to get my hands on that agreement. And so if we're going to deal with this issue finally, I think that might make some sense.
Can I call the question on tabling this amendment?
Yes. Please call roll.
Okay, and this is on tabling.
Give audience people comment.
Lawrence, did you want to say something?
Did you want to ask for public comments on this?
I should have, yes. You will have a chance if you're tabling it. Just to let you know, you can make your comments, but we're going to vote on the tabling, so.
Okay, I'm happy to do it in any order.
Well,
It works for the council.
we will, if we table it, then it'll come up later.
Okay.
So, but yeah, if you're here, go ahead and make.
I'll go
your
ahead
comments.
since I've walked up here. Mr. Mayor, council members, good evening. My name is Eric Rogers. I'm the Executive Director of Bike Walk KC with offices at 2100 Summit Street in Kansas City, Missouri. We're a local nonprofit that works across the region to help improve walking and biking and work with many cities and communities and neighborhoods and individuals across the region. We represent thousands of residents of Greater Kansas City and hundreds of residents here in Mission. And I just wanted to start by saying, you know, we've heard a lot of interest in this topic from our members and many that were really disappointed. I think it was last year when the city passed on the opportunity for a larger grant to move even more forward with the trail. And so we are especially hoping that we can move forward tonight with this much smaller, but yet more incremental and very pragmatic and I think responsible approach to this issue. You know, I just wanted to talk about how while this is a regional project, there's still enormous benefit, I believe, to the communities that it runs through. I think many of the council members have made great comments about support for creating a more walkable, more bikeable, more vibrant community with a high quality of life. And as I think we all know, this is increasingly the thing that folks are looking for when they choose a community to live in, a community to locate a business in, a community to send their kids to school in, is it's having more options than just only being able to drive a car, and that there are options for transportation and recreation and physical fitness, as well as all of the sustainability benefits that accrue, especially in a community like Mission that has been a leader in the region and really nationwide for sustainability. conservation, things like this. And there is increasingly more experience and information from other communities in the region and nationwide about the very tangible benefits of making the community more walkable and bikeable. It's, data is emerging showing that homes with access to trails can be worth up to 15% more than homes without access to trails, and that businesses with access to good routes for walking and biking have higher retail receipts and see more patronage. Shoppers that arrive on bike and on foot not only spend more, but they arrive more often and do more business. And not only are we talking about giving Mission residents a way to connect into the larger trail system, we're also talking about giving visitors another access point into Mission. I'm really encouraged to see the future connection to the Rock Creek Trail is already planned in, giving folks that arrive on the Turkey Creek Trail a really easy connection into the heart of Mission. Using myself as an example, I live in Midtown Kansas City, but often shop at the Target here in Mission, and have on occasion used my bike to ride on the Rock Creek Trail to get to the Target. But in between, it's not always a great way to get to the trail. And so creating these more regional connections are ways to make those safer and more sustainable and really more friendly options for everybody else. And to some of the concerns about safety, I think that this study is exactly what you need to be doing to learn about the safety issues and solve them. A lot of things we're talking about are for the experts, for the engineers and the designers and planners, and those are design problems that design professionals will find solutions for. But they can't do that without moving forward with this study. So I would ask, on behalf of all of the folks who walk and bike in Mission and in the surrounding areas, first to not table the issue tonight, and then second, for all of you to vote in favor of this ultimate action and move forward and hopefully learn exactly what it will take to get the trail here someday and what it will cost in the safest and most efficient way to do that. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Pat, you can say it.
Name and address, please.
Lawrence Andre, 6306 West 49th Street. It's a lot more fun on this side. Because you have a lot on your plate. I mean, I know you have a lot on your plate. And you look at the budget decisions that are ahead of you in not only this year, but the remainder of your terms. You look at the street and the stormwater issues. You look at the opportunities downtown. You look at some of the master planning conversations that have been started this year. There's a ton on your plate, and from this side of the conversation, just being in here for the last 30 minutes, this issue doesn't rank up with all those other issues. The amount of energy that is going into Turkey Creek, quite frankly, feels like a distraction. Now, I remember being a part of a lot of these difficult conversations over the years. And I remember feeling very passionate about many of them. And I remember at the moment feeling proud about helping this city make some decisions that we made on policies and on budgets, and it felt good. And I remember feeling lost when we didn't get to the place that I wanted us to be. But I'll tell you what, the whole policies change. Those types of budgetary decisions will change, whether you like it or not. I've seen some of that happen already. And you look across the dais here. And I remember when Ron Appletop sat right there. I remember when Connie Footlook sat right there. I remember when John Weber sat right there. I remember when Phil Perry sat right here. I don't know who this new guy is, but I remember Phil Perry.
Jason.
Hi, Jason. I remember when Sue Grossendier sat right there. I remember when Will Vandenberg sat right there. I remember when Lynn Kring sat right there. Now, I do not remember who used to sit there.
You did.
No, I'm talking about who used to represent Ward 4 before Susie Gibbs. I do not remember. That's way before my time. I mean, I think you represented Ward 4.
One day, Lawrence, somebody did call for the question, so
Yes.
I just kind of messed up, so that's why I gave you a chance.
So I remember when McConwell sat right there. And the point is, there's going to be different people sitting in each of these seats. But I'll tell you what I do remember. I remember Rock Creek Trail, seeing it built. And I remember not seeing Turkey Creek Trail built. I still regret that being a part of a decision not to get that project done when over half the funding was coming from outside sources. I still remember that. The public won't, but I do. I still sit with that. And I'll tell you what, I don't think most of the public remembers what the central core of our city looked like before Rock Creek Trail was there. I don't think most of our city remembers what behind Applebee's used to look like before Broadmoor Park was there. I don't think most of our city remembers what Millhaven used to look like before the park was out there. And this is the type of project that is not as important as the other projects in front of you, but this is a project that contributes to the quality of life. This is a project that is within a third, in easy, accessible distance of a third of the population of the mission. In the grand scheme of the challenges in front of you, this is a smaller piece of money, and this is a project that will have a positive legacy. I am confident of that, just like the other projects I just mentioned, will have a positive legacy in the city. Either do it, don't do it, but make a decision. I think it's a good project. More importantly, focus your energy, I know there's a limited amount of it, on the most important priorities in the city. Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
Frank Bruce, 5706 Lamar, and I've been sitting there trying so hard to keep my mouth shut. And believe me, for that's a real job. I've been thinking about how I really miss my good old friend Sil Powell. Sil, when he spent $1 of the mission funds, you know where it looked like it came out of his wallet. He was so stringent with what he spent. But we don't seem to have the same concern today. Now I know they call it the Turkey Creek Trail, but it looks like to me it is much more advantageous to put it right on the north side of I-35 from Kansas City, Kansas to connect with the Merriam portion. You can still call it the Turkey Creek Trail, but you get it out of the floodplain. I used to drive home along I-35 every single night from work, and after big rains, there was debris clear up in the top of the trees. So I agree with Amy or Jennifer, whoever mentioned, you're going to have a maintenance cost. You're going to have to move snow down there. I don't think that people are going to come from down there in the valley up to the Mission Shopping Center. So you can still have a trail that links all of that together, but it doesn't have to be the expensive trail that we see designed here going up through the floodplain. So I just really wish you'd consider that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the question has been called. Can you please call the roll?
And this is on tabling. Miller,
Nay.
Vaughn,
Abstain.
You can't
Oh,
abstain.
You can vote on this.
I can vote on this one. All right, so this is just for holding it.
Either holding it for next committee meeting or going to the next motion.
Hold it for next.
pardon me?
Hold for next. Aye.
Aye. Rothrock,
Aye.
Shepherd,
Aye.
Quinn,
Aye.
Cowdery,
Aye.
Kring,
Aye.
Gibbs.
Aye.
Motion carries. It's tabled.
Okay, so the next motion is in.
No need for yeah.
All right, thank you, everyone.
No, 6B would.
It's a partner to 6A, so.
Pardon me?
It's a partner to 6A.
Yes, it's partner 6A, so it's unnecessary at this point, so.
Okay.
Back to you, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Karen. Do we have any unfinished business tonight? Okay, we'll go on to new business. Is there any new business that anyone wants to bring up?
Can I say something?
Yes.
Of course. No, I know that.
I know I'm late, I wasn't here last month, but I would just like to say a big heartfelt thanks to everybody who helped the families at Christmas. Kathy Lockhart and I sat down one day and counted up just ballpark how many people donated food, how many people donated money, how many people went shopping, how many people helped wrap. And we came up over 150. So to all of you who are one of those 150, I just want to say thank you, because you made a lot of people very, very happy. I've gotten some very great phone calls, and I've gotten a couple of really nice notes, and Shawnee Mission North had nothing but glowing remarks to say. So,
and Susie, may I say it was really fun.
Well,
it was fun. I think everybody should come.
I know, they should. They should.
It's overwhelming.
It was fun. It was great, and I really did appreciate it. And beware, we'll do it again next year. So you can start collecting. I just also want to say the Mission Magazine will be probably in your mailbox next week if our post office is cooperating.
They went to the post office today.
We're mailing them out in Kansas City, Missouri now, so this could be a little problem, but we're hoping not. This issue, I remember I asked each one of you what you would never outgrow. Guess what? You're in the magazine this month. So, when you get it, be sure you open it up and look and see what everybody said they will never outgrow. And just a final note, our oldest resident, Gertrude Stern, if you remember, we did an article on her a 3 months ago, will be 105 next week. So if any of you would like to send her a card, I will be happy to give you her address, or I know Martha would too, but I think it would be great to give her a card shower. Her birthday is February the 27th. And imagine being 105 years old, still living in her home by herself, driving herself to play cards every day. Lives in countryside. And the mayor and the chief and I are going to go over and wish her happy birthday that day. If you would like more information, just email me and I'll get it to you.
Right next to me.
Anybody else with new business? Next is mayor's report, and I guess I want to say something about the conversation we had on the potential trail, and just commend everybody, because I know everybody is wanting to do the right thing for Mission, and it was nice, respectful. Everybody meant what they said, and they said it, but you know, everybody has their opinion, and they want the best for Mission. So I appreciate that, everybody's conduct, and I just want to welcome Jason again.
Thank you.
And it's going to be good, and I know you're going to be good for the position.
Thank you very much.
And that's it on my report, and now it's time for the city administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a couple of quick items. Dave Martin and I had an opportunity to meet with our contractor on the Johnson Drive streetlights today, where we've been exchanging correspondence. The fixtures are all here. They're at their shop in Riverside. The poles are expected to be ready to be loaded on a truck this Friday. Factory is in Virginia. Dependent on the weather, we expect they will then start heading our direction on Monday. So as I think I mentioned in the city administrator's report, we'll issue the notice to proceed as of March 2nd. There may be some work that will start ahead of that. They are going out and inventorying the bases to make sure there is not any repair that need to be made since that work was completed. We've been able to secure some financial compensation out of them, and as Dave told them today, that's not enough, and we'll continue that conversation as the project progresses. They'll be meeting with John and Emily next week to really map out the actual which blocks and where the installation will occur, so we can get back. But we made it very clear to them today that we've opened those lines of communication with those businesses, and they don't expect any lane closures, but obviously it will impact parking spaces as they install those street lights. So we look forward to finally getting that rolling. It's been a long time coming. Just a quick thank you for those who were able to attend our open house for the comprehensive plan update and the park master plan a week ago. I think we had good attendance. We had about 60 or 70 folks who joined us through that process. We are now taking those comments and working with the steering committees of both of those groups to finalize survey and develop survey questions that will be rolling out in the next couple of weeks. So that seems to be going well. Just a reminder that State of the County Luncheon is March 24th. If you're interested in attending, please let Martha know. Also, the Rushton auction is March 7th. Again, if you're interested, please send that to Martha. And finally, I want to wish Susie Gibbs a happy early birthday. Right?
Happy birthday, Susie.
Sunday?
Sunday.
Okay. Happy birthday. And that's all, Mayor.
Well, I don't think I'd go that far, but you know. God willing, it's big don't rise. That's the 80.
Yes.
And you don't look a
You
day
look
over
great,
60.
and you have energy of a
60, 80 is the new
20-year-old.
60. Or 60 is
So,
the new 80.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, we need to have an executive session tonight for 10 minutes. Is there a motion?
Mayor, I move City Council adjourn to executive session for 10 minutes to discuss current litigation. Also attending will be City Administrator Laura Smith and City Attorney David Martin. The council will reconvene in council chambers at 8:11 p.m.
Second.
They need to vote.
Raise the hand. We need to take roll.
We need to take roll
Please
quickly.
call.
Gibbs.
Aye.
Cowdery.
Aye.
Kring.
Aye.
Rothrock.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Shepherd. Vaughn.
Aye.
Thank you.
Right.